The sound hit her first, a thud, then another, like something heavy being slammed against a wall. Emma stood frozen in the doorway of her own home, keys still in her hand, briefcase sliding from her shoulder to the marble floor. The crash echoed through the hallway. Her heart stopped. That sound. It was coming from the living room. She moved forward, legs shaking, breath caught somewhere between her lungs and her throat. And then she saw it. Her husband, Chidi, gripping her mother by the shoulders. Mama Adizi's head snapped back against the wall. Blood streaked down the white paint. Her eyes rolled. Her body went limp. Emma's scream tore through the house like a knife through silk. Hello, friends. Welcome to Black Bite Stories. Before we begin today's story, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? We love hearing from our global family. Chidi turned. His face was calm, too calm, like a man who'd already made peace with what he was doing. Emma, he said, breathing hard. You're home early. She couldn't move, couldn't speak. Her mother was on the floor, blood pooling beneath her gray hair. Mama, Emma whispered. Her voice cracked. Mama, can you hear me? Chidi stepped toward her. Emma backed away, hands up, trembling. Don't come near me. Don't you dare come near me. He tilted his head, almost confused, like she was overreacting. Baby, listen. This isn't what it looks like. Her eyes burned with tears. You were killing her. I saw you. I saw you. Chidi exhaled slowly, wiping his hands on his pants. She wouldn't listen, Emma. She was going to destroy everything we built. Emma dropped to her knees beside her mother. Mama's chest rose and fell, shallow, stuttering. Her eyes fluttered open. Emma, run. Her voice was barely a whisper. He's not who you think he is. Emma's hands shook as she pressed them to her mother's face. Mama, stay with me. Please, stay with me. Chidi's shadow fell over them both. He crouched down, close enough that Emma could smell the cologne she'd bought him for their anniversary. Your mother, he said softly, has been threatening to take everything from me, from us. Emma looked up at him. The man she married, the man who used to carry her mother's groceries, who prayed with them every Sunday, who called Mama Adiz his second mother. That man was gone. In his place was someone cold, someone capable of murder. 2 years ago, everything had seemed perfect. Emma had just taken over Adiz Construction, the company her late father built brick by brick across Lagos. Mama Adiz had signed over the shares in a quiet ceremony, tears in her eyes, pride in her voice. This is yours now, my daughter. Protect it. Grow it. Chidi had been there that day, standing beside Emma, holding her hand, smiling like he'd won the lottery. And in a way he had, because the moment Emma's name went on those papers, Chidi stopped being just a husband. He became a partner, a co-owner in his mind, if not on paper. He started showing up to meetings, proposing deals, talking to contractors like he'd been in construction his whole life. Emma thought it was ambition. Mama Adiz thought it was something else. One night, Mama pulled Emma aside after dinner. Be careful with him. Emma laughed. Mama, he's my husband. I know, Mama said, but watch how he talks about the company, like it's his. Emma brushed it off. Chidi loved her. He was helping. What was wrong with that? But Mama Adiz didn't let it go. She started auditing the books herself, late nights in the office, calling accountants, checking invoices, and then she found them. Fake contracts, ghost suppliers, money disappearing into accounts that didn't exist, and every single one traced back to Chidi. Mama confronted him 3 days ago in the home office, just the two of them. She laid the evidence on the desk. Invoices, bank transfers, Forged signatures. Emma's signature. You have two choices, Mama said. Return the money, or I go to the police. Chitty stared at her. Then he smiled. You won't do that. You love your daughter too much. Mama leaned forward. Try me. That's when Chitty realized something. As long as Mama Adaze was alive, he'd never truly owned the company. She was the original shareholder, the one with final signing rights, the one Emma still listened to above everyone else. If Mama died, Emma would inherit everything. And if Emma was grieving, vulnerable, devastated, Chitty could step in, comfort her, guide her, control her. It was a simple calculation. One life, in exchange for everything. And tonight, he'd decided to collect. Emma didn't know any of this. Not yet. All she knew was that her husband had just tried to kill her mother. And now he was standing over them both, blocking the door, holding a hammer he'd grabbed from the garage. Emma, he said quietly. Move away from her. Emma's voice shook. Chitty, put that down. He didn't. I didn't want it to come to this. But she gave me no choice. Mama Adaze groaned. Her hand reached out, trembling, and grabbed Emma's wrist. The drawer. Emma's eyes widened. The drawer, and the side cable next to the couch. The one her father had installed years ago. The one with the emergency phone. The one connected directly to their private security team. Emma lunged. Chitty lunged too, but Emma was faster. She ripped the drawer open, grabbed the phone, and smashed the red button. An alarm shrieked through the house. Loud, piercing, unstoppable. Chitty froze. His face went white. No, 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 no. The front gate buzzed. Tires screeched. Within 30 seconds, the security team was at the door. Chitty dropped the hammer. It clattered to the floor. He backed away, hands up, breathing hard. Emma held her mother close, sobbing. Mama's eyes closed. But she was still breathing, still alive. The police arrived 10 minutes later. Chitty didn't fight, didn't run. He just sat on the floor staring at nothing, like he couldn't believe it had all fallen apart so fast. The lead officer looked at the blood on the wall, the hammer on the floor, the woman being loaded onto a stretcher, and he looked at Chitty. You're under arrest for attempted murder. Chitty's head snapped up. This is a misunderstanding. The officer cuffed him. We'll let the judge decide that. Emma watched them take him away, the man she'd loved, the man she'd trusted, the man who'd tried to kill her mother for money, and she felt nothing, just emptiness, just the sound of her mother's shallow breathing, and the knowledge that she'd almost lost everything. Mama Adaze spent 2 weeks in the hospital. The doctor said she was lucky. Another few minutes, and the bleeding in her brain would have been irreversible. Emma didn't leave her side. She slept in the chair next to the bed, ate hospital food, ignored calls from the office. One night, Mama woke up. Her eyes found Emma's face. You saved me. Emma shook her head, tears streaming. You saved yourself, Mama. You're the one who told me about the drawer. Mama smiled weakly. Your father installed that. He always said, protect the women in this house first. Emma squeezed her hand. I'm so sorry, Mama. I didn't see it. I didn't see what he was. Mama's grip tightened. Love makes us blind, my daughter, but pain makes us see. And now you see. Emma nodded. Now I see. The trial was fast. The evidence was overwhelming. Security footage, bank records, the forged contracts. Chitty's lawyer tried to argue self-defense, tried to paint Mama Adaze as controlling, manipulative, standing in the way of a young couple's future. But the prosecutor played the footage. Chitty slamming Mama's head into the wall. Chitty picking up the hammer. Chitty blocking the door. The jury took 2 hours. Guilty, attempted murder, fraud, forgery, 25 years. No parole. When the verdict was read, Chidi didn't react. He just stared at Emma. She stared back, and for the first time in 2 years, she didn't see her husband. She saw a stranger. A man who'd worn a mask so well, she'd never noticed it slipping. Until it was too late. 6 months later, a day's construction stood like a phoenix reborn, stronger, cleaner, and more disciplined than ever before. The building site gates carried a new gloss, the workers wore new uniforms, and the office hallways, once cluttered with the quiet chaos of mismanagement, were now steady, purposeful, and alive. Emma had cleaned house. Not the symbolic kind. The real kind, the kind that takes grit, sleepless nights, and a spine carved from iron. The first thing she did after Chidi's arrest was change the accountants. Every ledger, every transaction, every lost invoice was audited. She brought in a forensic financial team that combed through the numbers like detectives at a crime scene. What they discovered sent cold shivers down her spine. Ghost suppliers, double invoicing, inflated material prices. All threads leading back to Chidi and the small circle of people he had quietly planted inside the company. Emma fired them all. No warnings, no discussions, no soft landings. A day's construction needed nurses, not parasites. Then came the contracts, new ones, clean ones, with clients who valued integrity as much as quality. Emma renegotiated terms, redefined policies, and introduced safeguards her mother had always advised but never enforced. Every agreement now required dual signatures. Every major decision required transparent documentation. Every team lead had a backup, and every department had quarterly independent reviews. By the time the dust settled, a day's construction wasn't just surviving. It was thriving. And Mama Adays. Well, Mama Adays had returned. Not as the CEO, she had insisted on that. Let the younger ones carry the load. I will simply watch the road ahead. She came back as senior advisor. Her office was smaller now, tucked beside the balcony overlooking the courtyard. But the energy she carried? Larger than life. Her steps were slower. Yes, recovery takes its time. But her mind? Sharp, piercing, uncompromising. The kind of sharpness that comes from fighting battles no average person survives. One afternoon, the boardroom was bathed in the soft gold of the setting sun. The blinds were half drawn, the air cool, the room silent except for the distant hum of workers outside, finishing the last shift of the day. Emma sat across from her mother. Mama was studying blueprints spread across the table, her reading glasses perched low on her nose, one hand holding a pen while the other traced a structural line. "Mama," Emma said quietly. Mama didn't look up. "How did you know?" Mama paused, then slowly lifted her eyes. "Know what?" "That Chidi was dangerous." For a long moment, Mama said nothing. She simply placed her pen on the table, removed her glasses, and leaned back in her chair. Her face softened, but her eyes carried the weight of memories Emma could only guess at. "My daughter," Mama began, her voice low but steady, "because I have seen men like him before." Emma swallowed. "What kind of men?" "Men who smile at you while counting your money in their heads," Mama said. "Men who call you mother while planning your funeral. Men who pretend loyalty so well you forget to watch their hands." Emma's throat tightened. "I should have listened." Mama reached across the table and gently touched Emma's hand. The gesture was simple, but it carried a lifetime of love, fear, relief, and forgiveness. "You listened," Mama said, "when it mattered. And that is why we are both still here." A soft ache filled Emma's chest. The kind that comes from surviving something you weren't sure you would. She nodded, but her eyes glistened. Later that evening, Emma stood at the boardroom window, looking out over Lagos. The skyline glimmered under the fading sun, a mosaic of ambition and chaos, wealth and struggle. The city her father had loved deeply. The city her mother had fought tooth and nail to build a legacy in. And now the city Emma herself was learning to protect. She thought about Chidi, about the charming smile that had disarmed her, about the softness in his voice whenever he said her name, about the moments that felt real until the day she discovered they weren't. She thought about the lies, the manipulation, the way he had tried to wedge himself between her and her mother, the way he had made her question her instincts, her leadership, her worth. She thought about how close she'd come to losing everything. But then she thought about the lessons she'd learned the hard way. Trust is earned, not given. Love is shown, not spoken. And family, real family, will never ask you to choose between them and your humanity. Behind her, the soft shuffle of footsteps approached. Mama joined her at the window, her presence warm and grounding. "What are you thinking?" Mama asked. Emma smiled, sad but real. The kind of smile that comes after storms when the rain finally stops and the light returns. "I'm thinking," Emma said, "that I almost lost everything because I loved the wrong person." Mama nodded slowly. "But my daughter, you did not lose everything." Emma turned to her. "Why?" "Because," Mama said gently, "you love the right person more." Emma felt her breath hitch. "Who?" she whispered. Mama's eyes softened. "Yourself. Your father. This family. This company. And me." Silence hung between them, comforting, warm, full of truth. Emma looked at her mother. Really looked. At the woman who had taken a hammer to the head and still refused to die. At the woman who had survived betrayal after betrayal, but still believed in love, loyalty, and legacy. At the woman who had raised her to be strong, even on the days she didn't want to be. The tears finally spilled over. "I love you, Mama," Emma said softly. Mama's smile glowed like a lamp in the dark. She lifted her hand and cupped Emma's cheek. "I know, my daughter," she whispered. "That is why we are still standing." The two women remained there for a long time, side by side, watching the city stretch and breathe beneath them. 6 months ago, everything had been on the verge of collapse. Now everything was rebuilding. Not perfectly, not neatly, but honestly. Emma sighed, releasing the last bits of pain she'd held on to. "Mama," she said after a while, "did you ever think we wouldn't make it?" Mama chuckled a small, tired, knowing laugh. "My daughter, I have faced storms you have not even imagined. If you knew some of the things I survived in this very city, politicians, businessmen, family members, even friends, you would understand. Danger is not always loud. Sometimes it is polite. Sometimes it wears perfume. Sometimes it says it loves you." Emma exhaled sharply. "That sounds exactly like Chidi." Mama nodded. "Exactly." They shared a quiet moment. "Do you regret trusting him?" Mama asked. Emma thought about it. Really thought, then shook her head. "No? No?" Mama raised a brow. Emma turned from the window. "If I never trusted him, I would never have learned how strong I am." Mama smiled. "Then you've learned the right lesson." Emma nodded slowly. "I think I have." They began walking toward the boardroom door, the last golden light fading behind them. Before they stepped out, Mama stopped her. "Emma." "Yes, Mama?" "You did well." "Really?" Mama tapped her chin. "You cleaned the company. You cleaned the accounts. And you cleaned your heart." Emma laughed softly. "That last one was the hardest?" "Yes," Mama agreed. "But it is the most important." Emma held the door for her mother. "Where are you going now?" "Home," Mama said. "I am old. I need rest." Emma smiled. "You're not old." "I am old enough," Mama said, her eyes sparkling. old enough to know that the future of a day's construction is safe in the hands of a woman who knows the difference between love and danger. Emma felt her throat tighten again, but this time with pride. As Mama walked down the hallway, Emma watched her with deep admiration. That small, fierce woman had survived everything, including the worst kind of betrayal. And now she was teaching Emma how to survive too. The night settled over Lagos, lights flickering one by one across the skyline. And in that moment, Ime knew one thing for certain. She had been broken. She had been deceived. She had been almost destroyed, but she had risen. Not in spite of what happened, because of it. And standing there, strong, wiser, unshakable, Emma realized something else. She wasn't just protecting the company. She was protecting the legacy. Her father's, her mother's, and now, finally, her own. A year later, a day's construction broke ground on its biggest project yet. A housing complex for low-income families. Affordable, safe, built with integrity. Emma stood at the site, hard hat on, Mama beside her. "This one's for Dad," Emma said. Mama nodded. "And for every family that deserves a home built on truth, not greed." The workers cheered, the cameras flashed. And somewhere, in a prison cell across the city, Judy sat alone. He'd wanted everything, the company, the money, the power. And he'd lost it all because he'd forgotten one simple truth. You can't build a future on a foundation of blood. It will always collapse. And when it does, the only thing left standing is the truth. Emma learned that. Mama Adays knew that. And now the world knew it too. Never let ambition blind you to the person standing beside you, because the one you underestimate might be the one who saves your life, and the one you trust most might be the one holding the hammer.